What's up, Hannah?
Old man cheers.
Are we good? No. Yeah. DK, first and foremost, there's a new face in the clubhouse. Can you just talk generally first about just the moves that were made and how Genesis got here?
Yeah, we brought in Genesis Cabrera. Michael Darrow Hicks was optioned to Indianapolis, and just excited to add a guy that has big league experience, left-handed, and has had success in the big leagues.
I know Stratton also a part of that. Was that pretty tough to part ways with a guy like that who did bring a lot and worked really hard behind the scenes here?
Yeah, no doubt. Unfortunately with Strat, and it stinks, the business of baseball, and you only have so many spots to work with, and appreciate everything that he did for us, and he's a big league pitcher. He's going to find his way.
What do you like about what Genesis, I know another lefty did this bullpen, but what he could bring overall?
Yeah, the experience, the left-handed. I just shared with Brownie, I got to see him when he was a young kid in high A, and the electricity in his arm, and he's a competitor, and he's been on the other side, that we've had to prepare for, and excited to add him to our bullpen.
Can you provide more context on that when you saw him in high A?
Yeah, it was 2017. He was starting for the Rays, and just electric arm. He was skinnier, and now he's stronger, more developed, and just really stuck out at that time. The way he could throw the ball.
How much did you feel like you needed another lefty in the bullpen? I mean, you're down to one after starting the season with 4.
Yeah, he just gives us an option. He's resilient too. He can bounce back and can do a bunch of different things, and been hit kind of hard there with the lefties, and to have Fergie still out there and to be able to add another one was good.
Speaking of resilience, what's it been like to see Nick Gonzalez after the way he started the season, missing 2 months, to see the way he's hit, especially here in the last couple of weeks? Is he kind of rounding into the player you expected?
Yeah, he's swinging the bat really well, and especially after the start, he hits the home run, and on a broken foot too, and to take that time to go through the rehab, which is always hard, but for him to bounce back the way that he has and swing the bat as well as he has, going to all fields too, has been really impressive, and he just continues to get better.
I know this is a guy who comes in with a pedigree of a first-round pick, but he was also a walk-on in college. How much do you see him bring maybe kind of the swagger of a first-round pick, but maybe the mentality of an underdog?
Yeah, and that grit, and he's gone through some swing changes too. It's not like everything was just smooth for him coming through the minor leagues. He had to make some adjustments and continue to learn, continue to develop, and he's shown that not just this year through the injury. Last year he dealt with a little bit of an injury as well, but throughout his career, it hasn't been easy for him. He's turned himself into a big league player.
DK, I haven't seen a lineup today, so apologies if this is maybe not prudent. Is ONeal going to be staying away from the leadoff spot for a bit, do you think? Or?
Yeah, and today with the lefty, ONeal isn't going to be starting. Canario will be in center. But we're talking through that, just trying to find ways to get him back to being ONeal and swinging the bat the way that we know and he knows that he can, and relaxing a little bit. And some of that may be not being in the leadoff spot. We did that the last game there in Milwaukee, and it will probably be fluid as we go, but there will be times that he is not leading off.
Is some of that also keeping him away from left-handed, from tricky lefties?
Yeah, I don't think it's going to be very, it's not going to be 100% of the time that he doesn't play against lefties. And I feel like that sometimes for a left-handed hitter, not just ONeal, I think any left-handed hitter, sometimes we get pull happy, front shoulder start flying open, and sometimes you have to face those lefties to stay in there as well as part of, adjusting back. And so it won't be something that ONeal is not facing lefties. We need ONeal, the best version of ONeal every day, and as many times as we can get him in the lineup, it would be great.
You did the unplugged with, you guys did the unplugged with Reynolds a while back, and that almost worked wonders. Do you think you would be a candidate for something like this, and does it?
Similar type thing today,
Yeah.
with him, of just the day to sit back, watch the game, and work with the guys in the cage and try to get back on track.
Have you pinpointed anything that might have led to the struggles so far? Is it a mechanical thing? Is it kind of how he's choosing pitches to swing at? Anything like that?
Yeah, they're working on some mechanical stuff. as we speak right now. And I think it's also something where he's gotten in between. We talked about that. There are times that we see him taking the fastballs and then being out in front of the off speed, and sometimes that's just not seeing the ball and reacting. You're trying to think your way through it as opposed to being athletic and being the hitter that we know he can be.
Tony, you talked about seeing Cabrera as a scout. The fact that you did scout for a few years, does any of that translate to this job now?
I think so. Just trying to be able to evaluate and see things. There's always going to be subjective stuff. How do you blend the subjective and objective, and trust your eyes in what you're seeing, and how whether it's a pitcher throwing and what their command is, what their stuff is, or from a hitter standpoint, and getting to know the players too on your team. We talked about Brian, unplugging, and you start to see the struggles, and sometimes you have guys that need to play to work through that, and sometimes you need to figure out times to get them off and give them that reset. I learned a lot through the scouting, and just trying to use it all to blend it together to help make decisions.
Donnie, there's going to be a lot of reports here. It's the time of year when teams start doing business with one another, and there have already been some reports about names being thrown out. This is true, this isn't. And it's always a crazy 4 or 5 weeks around the game. What do you think is the best way to approach this time of year as a manager, having now you're going to be going through it?
Yeah, just being upfront with guys, and you never know. Everyone in here knows that there are sometimes rumors, or sometimes things that go on. Some of it's true, some of it's not. Sometimes you don't know, and you don't know where it even stemmed from. Who the source is. Being upfront with the players, as much as you can. Trusting Ben in that as well, and finding ways to navigate it from a transparent lens, and trying to help the players understand that, yeah, they're always going to see rumors. There's going to be things that float around. How do we focus on our jobs every single day to go out there and continue to compete through it, which can be challenging through this time.
Have you already had to have a couple of those conversations, I guess, leading because of the reports that have come out?
So I have not. Ben has talked to a couple of guys, and not from a recent standpoint.
Yeah.
This goes back, a couple weeks. I think that it's hard, as we all know. There are a ton of rumors, and
Yeah.
I don't think that you can sit there and have a conversation based on every single rumor that ever comes out. I think it's part of, for me, the guys understand they're being professional, coming in, doing everything that they can to be their best, and also help the Pirates win tonight. And as we go through this time, just understanding, they know what it's like. They've been around. They understand that these things are going to pop up, and just know that when we have to, we'll have the conversation with them. Thank you.